The story starts on an abandoned muddy seashore in a post-apocalyptic international. Scattered tree trunks clutter the shore. And a young boy lies belly down at the ground rapidly after a curious canine approaches sniffing around the logs upon noticing the boy's presence. The dog barks and lunges at him. A fierce struggle ensues, but the boy finally manages to kill the canine along with his knife. He then incorporates its corpse onto his boat and sets off towards domestic. Lower back at his domestic, his father is writing something in his pocketbook. He looks older than he is, along with his shabby garments and gray beard. Their house is raised above the lake and all transportation is carried out via boats. In conjunction with a few others, they stay in a community by means of the lake covered from all facets via gates and steel fences. The solar returns with the dead body of the dog. His father dismissively checks the carcass and inquires approximately the occasions. The son solutions that he killed the dog himself. Hearing this, the daddy right now asks if he crossed the dam. However, the son admits he could not get beyond the witch. As the two delve deeper in communication, dad points out that the blade is rusty, so the canine's meat is not any longer appropriate for bartering. However, they controlled to salvage its coat. The duo then travels to a man named Aringo to see what they can trade the coat for. Boats are the #1 resources of transport here, as most houses are constructed proper on the financial institution. The river is fantastically polluted and appears almost black. Upon arriving at Ringo's home, they name him out to barter the dog coat with. After bickering for some time, Ringo, most effective, welcomes their father inside. He's an antique guy who would not revel in organization and continually carries a rifle. Disregarded, the boy goes around the entrance and drops on their communication. Ringo questions the father on wherein he got the dog coat, suspecting it belongs to his lost pet. The father lies that he discovered a useless canine inside the nearby fields. Livid, Ringo refuses to trade, as he's sure that is his very own dog, but after hearing the father plead for food, he offers him fish and 2 grenades for searching. Just as the walkout door, the boy sneaks in and steals Ringo's last grenades. On their way domestic, the father reminds him they can't afford enmity with the vintage man. The boy tosses grenades into the river to catch fish, but alternatively finds floating lifeless our bodies. Seems it's a custom here to throw dead our bodies into the water. Spooked by way of this horrifying scene, he rushes lower back home. At night, the boy prepares for dinner whilst his father writes in his diary. Studying and writing are luxuries from the lengthy forgotten past, and handiest the antique know about it. Curious approximately this interest that his father does. Often the boy sneaks in and watches, but the vintage guy scolds him and tells him to thoughts his obligation rapidly after when he is going out to get a few veggies. We see extra of this bleak, desolate world. Apparently a mysterious plague has worn out maximum people, and existence is extraordinarily tough. For the few survivors, the land barely yields any crop and the assets are limited. At the same time as looking for vegetables, he continuously coughs and looks frail. The following afternoon, our ring barges into their home. Livid approximately the stolen grenades and the dead dog. He accuses the father and son, or even goes as a long way as pointing a gun at the father. While the boy attempts to interfere, he is slapped throughout the face. Ringo then takes lower back the stolen grenades and storms away from there. That night, the daddy leaves on his boat for Valeria Gino's house. She is a blind female who controls the dam and everything that goes inside and out of the lake network. For the reason that she controls the water flow, cooks her meals, and does herbal medication, his father calls her the witch after some passionate lovemaking. They take a seat down and communicate. The man says it's getting harder for him to hunt and locate meals. The girl keeps matters from the past like cookie jars, mugs, and pots on the alternative hand. The man is extra rigid and says there is no point in thinking about the past. He tells her about the canine that his son killed for the boy. Rats and puppies are just meals, not like people who bear in mind. While dogs had been loving pets, the man has raised his son like a wild animal. Without coaching him whatever due to the fact it is the best way to live on here in response. The girl well known shows that his son comes to her house every so often. While he scolds him, she urges him to reveal extra physical affection closer to him, but the man replies that it might be higher if the boy died quickly. Appalled at this thought, the witch slaps him on his way back. The old guy has a severe cough episode. After struggling for some minutes, he in some way manages to start the boat and drags himself to his home. There he unearths his son snoozing peacefully and realizes that this cough will quickly kill him, so he sits down on his take a look at desk to put in writing something in his pocketbook. Hours later, the boy wakes up and is delighted that his net has stuck a fish, but he finds that his father remains asleep on his observed table. Hours pass and the evening strategies, however, the guy nonetheless doesn't awaken. Not able to procedure what is occurring, the boy curiously takes his father's pocketbook and attempts to peer what's inside. For him, all of the words are a few weird symbols that he cannot understand. The next morning, after knowing that his dad is not anymore, he ties up his corpse and casts it into the river. He now desires to understand what's written within the pocketbook, and the first individual he is going to is Ringo. However, the latter another time acts rude and selfish. While he continues on shouting, the boy recollects how Ringo humiliated his father. In a match of rage, he hangs him the wrong way up and drowns him to dying with Ringo's jacket, ropes, gun, and a brand new dagger in his ownership. The boy heads in the direction of the witch's home. He calls her and offers to change for food. The witch asks approximately his father's whereabouts, and the boy bluntly famous that he's lifeless. Hearing this, the antique female is devastated, and she or he starts off evolved, crying. After a while, the boy brings out his father's pocketbook and asks what it smiles. The witch explains that it's a device for storing recollections. She provides that reminiscences are things from the past that you don't want to overlook. Intrigued by means of the belief of memories, something entirely overseas, to him the boy's curiosity intensifies. She struggles to make him remember the fact that she is aware of a way to read, however can't do so proper now because she's blind. The following morning, the boy decides to pass the dam and search for a person who can study the pocketbook for him to begin with. The witch refuses to deliver him permission, saying his father in no way wanted him to go out, but the boy is simply too enthusiastic about memories and the big understanding the pocketbook has, so the witch we could him cross the dam with one caution, in no way agree with everybody available. Without delay later on, the boy is greeted via grim scenes of useless our bodies putting through tree branches. After a while, he ties his boat to a tree trunk and starts exploring. He sees lengthy traces of abandoned automobiles that were in all likelihood stuck in a jam whilst the plague hit. He has in no way seen a vehicle before, however, decides to sleep interior one of them for the night time. The following day, he discovers his boat has vanished. After a quick seek, he encounters two farmers, Matto and Lorenzo, working of their vegetable lawn. They reassure him that his boat is safe. and docked at a close-by moor. The boy, pushed by way of starvation, lowers his gun and accepts their invitation to enroll in them. For dinner, the farmers advise him to use a spoon while eating to minimize the chance of spreading diseases after dinner. The boy requests that Lorenzo examine his father's notebook. The latter consents, but says that he'll do it tomorrow. Earlier than going to bed, Matto takes him to see something the farmer duo has captured: a younger girl, stored interior a cage, and leashed her like a dog. Matto pokes her with a stick and forces her to eat the veggies whilst the boy is pressured. Seeing all this, Matto explains that this lady is for trade together with his friends. The following day, the farmers inform the boy that he have to paintings if he desires them to examine the diary. Matteo makes the boy plow the field, after which asks him to easy the lady's cage. Even as doing so, the woman begs him to let her pass. Cross, she says her call is Maria, and the two farmers were friendly, closer to her earlier than throwing her in a cage. But regardless of her pleas, the boy refuses, because he is desperate for Lorenzo to study the diary to him. That nighttime, the boy, Matto, and Lorenzo gather round to examine the diary. The first 2 pages recount the occasions of the boy's birthday screen that his mom exceeded away throughout childbirth, and his father had no idea how to attend to him. He even needed the boy might die proper away. Just whilst the story begins to get exciting, Lorenzo says he'll retain reading the next day. This makes the boy angry, but he's fast reminded that he should abide by way of the residence rules and work during the day in change for the night diary readings. Day after today, the boy is going to Maria's cage and asks if she will be able to read the notebook. She lies that her father can, and if he frees her, she will take him there. Hearing this, the boy promptly frees her, gives her a jacket, and marches outside. He then starts tussling with the farmers. At one point, he profits the higher hand and stabs Lorenzo. Matto attempts to